Good afternoon, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101. And very quickly, I want to give out some very important news, some staggering news that I find out with doing my taxes with my CPA that has been very alarming in some sense because I thought this. I didn't think they were going to actually do it. I didn't think that the government was going to actually do this, but I'm going to break this down very quickly so you guys can go ahead and go about your day on this Sunday. But unfortunately, this is not good news. So if you filed your taxes, you probably already know this, but if you haven't filed your taxes, wait until I give you this information. All right, so we understand there are people who do not look forward to tax season each year. Those expecting a refund, for example, this year, however, you got to file your tax return as soon as possible. Aside from a possible refund, your federal are linked to recovering. Listen to this. Your tax return is linked to recovering your first two stimulus payments if you never receive them. Okay. So there's people who received their first stimulus and there's people who have not received their first stimulus. Even better, a third stimulus check is also to your taxes this year. Even if you're a non-filer, someone who doesn't file taxes is a case for you too. When you file your taxes this year, it'll be time to claim any missing stimulus checks. Okay. Again, when you're filing your taxes this year, if you have not received any of your stimulus checks, only one of your stimulus checks, or even two of your stimulus checks, then you can actually do that on this year's filing when you do your taxes. Okay. As a recovery for rebate credit. Now, to help get your money quicker, you also want to take the time to set up your direct deposit so you're not waiting on a paper check to arrive. Also, since the third stimulus check is now arriving in the middle of the 2020 tax season, I believe that the last date is April 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct it in the comment section. You may want to file taxes as soon as possible, especially if your employment status has changed. This is not mid-year, mid-month. So a lot of times the federal government does not know your current work, your current career, your current job status. This tax season will probably be the most complicated we have had to deal with due to new adjustments made to figures in stimulus checks and additional unemployment assistance. See, I will try to explain how your tax returns and stimulus checks are linked, how your dependents figure in and whether the stimulus payment is considered taxable income. Also, here's when a third stimulus check could arrive, how the IRS calculates the money you'll get, and if you could expect to receive a bigger or smaller check. Previous. Now, here's the big kicker that I've been wanting to tell you guys. The amount of your third stimulus check is based on your 2019 or your 2020 taxes. Whichever the IRS has on file at the time, it determines your payment. If your situations change dramatically between the 2 years, you could potentially get the full amount. Even if the IRS bases the check it sends out on your 2019 taxes, you may need to wait until 2022 to claim the difference on your next year taxes. Here's everything, essentially how tax season could affect your third stimulus. A timeline for sending the third stimulus check is merging with tax season April 15th is the tax filing, so I wrote that down correctly, which complicates matters quite a bit, especially since the IRS is already combining makeup stimulus money with your tax refund this year. Now, a lot of you are saying, I'm money from the first two stimulus checks. How can I file for recovery rebate credit? The December stimulus bill set a January 15th cutoff for the IRS and the U.S. Treasury to send the second stimulus payment to bank accounts and through mail as a paper check or EIP card, unless the IRS mailed your check right at the deadline or your payment is caught up in a direct deposit holdup with taxpayers. You'll need to claim money from the $600 stimulus check as a recovery rebate credit on your 2020 Form 1040 or your Form 1040 SR when you file your federal tax returns this year. You can also claim money the IRS owes you from the first round of stimulus checks authorizing last spring. Millions are owed a catch-up payment for child dependents. Now, Here's the news that I really wanted to tell you guys. First and foremost, if you receive 1, 2, or all 3 of your stimulus checks, that is being deducted from 20 taxes. Again, see, me and my buddy talked about this morning because it ran through my head. It ran through my mind. I said, okay, I don't think that the federal government is going to deduct the amount of stimulus money from people's tax returns because people essentially know day in and day out, year after year, how much you're going to receive every tax season. But that is not the case. The federal government, if you have received the first installment of $1,200, the second installment of $600, the third installment of $1,400, and a grand total of $3,200, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They're taking it out of your 20 tax return. How do I know? Because I received the first stimulus. I couldn't receive any more because once all of my computations came in of amount of money that I'm bringing in, I could not receive any other stimulus. But here's the thing, they're deducting, they are subtracting that amount of money that you receive from your stimulus from your 2020 tax return. So the reason how they come up with these numbers that I'm just figuring out is that the reason why the stimulus checks have not been larger is because they're saying, let's do a cost-based analysis. Let's do a poll of sorts of the many Americans that are receiving on average a return of $2,000 to $3,000 or more. So when they tally this all up, including single, those joint filing separately and married filing jointly, the majority of Americans receive anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000. So when they were trying to detract this money from your taxes, they said, well, some of these Americans who were single in a higher tax bracket but still qualify for the stimulus check, we're going to deduct that from their tax return. And guess what? You may end up owing taxes. See, what I thought was they're going to raise taxes slowly. They're going to use inflation and they're going to raise taxes slowly, maybe 1 or 2%, in order to put that money back into the federal budget. But that is not the case, ladies and gentlemen. So let me tell you, when I was sitting down with my CPA virtually over Zoom, we were going back and forth and saying, hold up. Now that I've told you that I've received the first stimulus, why is my payment $1,200 less than the previous amount? He said, because the federal government is charging people for the money that they during the pandemic. So I said, this wasn't like a free credit, a free package, a free boost of anything. No. Nothing is free in America. You're going to pay because this is the United States corporation and this is not a country. Again and again, this proves to us, even with my commentary, even with my videos, I've been trying to tell you guys, the U.S. is ran as a business and the only thing they gave you was an installment loan of 0%, but you're going to pay that money back when it comes to your tax return. So all that money that the federal government was accumulating from your job, from your retirement, from all the sources of assets and income that you have, and you pay taxes on that, the only thing they did was give you a little bit of tax money back. That's all they have done. So you're not going to receive the same amount or in the same ratio of money that you once did receive. No, they're subtracting that $1,200 from your tax return. They're subtracting that $600 from your tax return. They're subtracting that $1,400 from your return. That is what they're doing. Now, to help work out whether you're missing a payment and for how much, the IRS actually provides a recovery rebate credit worksheet. Now, you'll need the IRS calculated amount from the letter of the agency that you sent. And the question you may have, when do I need to file a stimulus credit on my taxes? Now, this is according to the IRS. You'll be able to claim a missing payment on your taxes now with any payments going out after you file. See, you can prepare your taxes now through the IRS free file tax preparation service. That's on irs.gov. See, if you qualify to use it or through a tax preparation service, we already know this, H&R Block, Taxi Hewitt, TurboTax, etc. The tax filing deadline, again, is 15th, okay? And make the deadline. But again, April 15th is the due date for all your 2020 tax returns, but filing your taxes sooner would not only potentially speed up delivery of any tax refund you might collect, but also position you to get any missing stimulus money that they will subtract if you already got it anyway. It will speed up you getting the money weeks or sometimes even months faster. You have to make a handy comparison chart after you see the return based upon your previous amounts from previous years. Some of you guys already know when Donald Trump came into office and his new tax bill that the middle class was actually taxed at a higher tax percentage, at a higher tax rate than the filthy rich. Because the previous years I was receiving anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 more. Donald Trump came in, made the changes to the tax code. Boom, I'm down $2,000 to $3,000 less than I was before. But again, I must stress, I must inform, I must educate you that when you're filing your taxes and you receive any of the 3 stimulus checks, it will be subtracted from your tax return. Now, you guys, let's be real, you guys can go ahead and lie and say, hey, to your CPA, to your tax professional, wherever you go, I have not received my stimulus checks. You can say that I have not received my stimulus check, and they will put that credit on your tax return and you will receive a higher tax return. But when the IRS does an audit, you will be paying that tax money back. So again, just so we all understand, for those just tuning in, this is Financial Literacy 101. I'm giving you a quick update about your stimulus checks and your taxes. And this is what I found out when I was sitting down with my CPA, that if you receive any of the tax returns, if you receive any of the stimulus checks, it will be subtracted from your 2020 tax return. So last year, a lot of us received the $1,200 stimulus check. That is going to be subtracted from your 2020 tax return when you file this year up until April 15th. If you receive the $600, that again will be subtracted. $1,800 will be subtracted from your 2020 tax return. And if you received a check, $3,200, regardless if you have 1 to 2 to 3 children, you're filing head of household, you have the earned income credit, you have done your donations with Habitat for Humanity or Goodwill, etc. All of that is still going to be subtracted from the total amount of return that you would have received if you did not take the stimulus or you did not receive the stimulus. The federal government is taking $3,200 from you if you received all of your stimulus checks. I'm sorry to inform you that I really thought the federal government was going to go about this a different way. I really thought that my initial thought was, hey, the federal government understands the current state of the economy. They understand the current state of people living their lives based upon the stimulus money. All to come to find out, if you guys were receiving anywhere from $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and you receive 1, 2, or 3 or all of the stimulus checks, track that right now. Please file that correctly. Do not lie to your CPAs. Do not lie to your tax professionals, because the federal government, after this year, they're going to go through a mass audit and they will get their money back one way or another. So that stimulus money was them essentially fronting a small portion of your tax return up front. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please like and share. If you're not subscribing to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe, where I give all sorts of financial information and advice. This is Financial Literacy 101. I would like to thank Mitch Liggins for coming out, Wendell, Jermaine Anderson, and Samuel. Thank you for joining me today, guys, and also the Income Stock Investor. You guys have a great and wonderful day, and I'm sorry to spoil your fun. I'm out.